Today we're going to tie the White Death Zonker for Steelhead. So I know the White Death Zonker is a very specific pattern, but I like to make versions of those popular flies that are easier to tie, so I decided to make a video of my version of it. I'm starting off with a number 4 streamer hook. This is the Daiichi 1710. What we're going to do is start off by tying some thread, some red thread. I'm using 6/0 uni thread. You can use 8/0 or any other thread you want. The thread's not that important. So we're just going to build a small amount right here. This is our tie-in point for the Zonker strip. So the next thing you're going to want to do is cut off a strip of this Zonker stuff. So the way you can decide how long you want this piece, in my opinion, is place it up here at the head, and then it should tie off something like 1/4 inch or so from the end of the leather on the bottom of it. You can make it longer, but steelhead tend to short strike flies, and so if you have a really long tail, you have more of a chance of them just nipping at the bunny rabbit and not getting any hook. Next thing we're going to do is apply a small amount of glue. I'm using Arguable brand super glue, but as long as it's a super glue, just kind of coat the top of that. You don't want it too wet. So this is one of the tricks that makes this easier to do. So after you cut your strip, you notice there's a bias, right? It leans this way, right? So this is the front, and then this would be the tail end of it. So what we're going to do is we're going to glue this thing on there instead of tying it on. I'm going to tilt it your way so it's easier to see. So what I'm going to do is eyeball where my front should be, right there. Then I'm going to lift this up to that and push on it, right in the middle. You can even wrap it around a little bit. Then we're going to stand it up. Get all the fluff out of there. The super glue bonds really quickly to the leather, so all I've done is put a drop of glue on there, stick it on there. It's not tied in, and you can see it ain't going anywhere. So then what you want to do is pull back the fur until you get to where you think you're about on your thread. Hold that back. Make a gentle wrap the first time so you don't start twisting it around the hook. There you go. And then you can tug a little bit. And the heavier 6/0 thread actually helps you just fill this in a little quicker with fewer wraps so that you have the nice red appearance. Then when you get that done, lift the bunny fur back, make a wrap or two here, and then tie it off. Pull that back. And we don't need the red thread anymore, so we're just going to remove that. Now what I'm going to do is turn it upside down. You can see upside down how it looks. We need a little bit more glue on that. And this time, because I don't want the glue in the fur, I'm going to put the glue on my bodkin. And then I'm just going to pull down the fur and spread it out. So I'm gluing my knot, just adding a little bit more glue to where the leather strip is glued down to the hook. Then we're going to flip it back over. And some black thread. So I'm going to wrap my black thread on here. Trim off my excess. And just continue to wrap it down the hook all the way down to where the red is. And wrap it back. This is just making a good base for the braided flash to stick to. So then I'll wind her back to the front and tie this down. So if you get the little weird little loop, sometimes you need to spin it to get all that twist out of there. It'll lay a little bit better. I'm going to keep that right on top of the shank. This and wind all the way back to here, then wind all the way back to the front. And I'm going to make one knot and bring up my thread holder, park it like that. So before I wind pearl braid or the silver braid on there. I'm going to add some glue because steelhead are toothy critters, and toothy critters will tear this fly up. One of the features of the original pattern uses the tube, the hollow core tube of flash. However, that can be torn up very easily by a fish. So then what you're going to do is you can either wrap by hand or use your rotary vise and work your way toward the front. So that glue on there is going to bond with this material, and it is not going to come off. It is going to seep right into that and just become virtually solid. Cut off your excess. And make a little bit of a head. Then what I'm going to do is pull this forward. If it's not long enough, you can just give it a little bit of a stretch. Get it right where you want it, right on top. Get it right on top. And then just, you want to make sure you make that first one loose so that you don't pull it around the sides of the fly. Right? And you can see it's got a little bit of a head on it, so you can like cross wrap it this way. Cross wrap it that way. It's a way of getting it all tied down nicely without turning it into a lump. And once again, this is the 6/0, and it will help me build a head a little faster than the 8. You don't need a big head. Just, make it how you think it should look. Tie it off. Oops, got some bunny fur in there. Cut off your excess. And you can use any kind of head cement that you prefer. I'm going to continue to use the super glue because it's what I have open and it does a great job. So here you get a nice little bead of it. And then what we're going to do is pull the hair back so you don't get any on that. And just kind of daub it on the head and rotate it around so it gets on the sides and hopefully underneath. Yeah, I had enough that time to get it all the way around. So if you don't, you can just add a little more. And there you have it, the White Death Zonker for Steelhead.